I would describe Reed Richards as many things. He's a scientist. He is an explorer, and he is a husband. And I wouldn't put it necessarily in that order. If anything, I might reverse the order. He's very smart, and his brain is addicted, I think, to the universe and beyond, and solving equations, and always understanding the mathematics of reality, and in a world of numbers, so that you can always come up with a solution. But what really anchors him and really defines his identity is his relationship to his family, and the position that he has within a people of four, and also his relationship to his partner, to his equal, to his leader in some senses, his wife, and the future of becoming a father, and how that is a much more complex equation to work on than, you know, all of the complexities of science.
I play a character called Johnny Storm. His personality is, he's curious, he's silly, he's adventurous, he's fiery. His special skill is setting himself on fire and flying. And Johnny's relationship with the other members of the Fantastic Four, he is the biological brother of the brilliant Sue Storm, the brother-in-law to Mr. Reed Richards, the brother from another mother to Ben Grimm.
So Sue Storm is known as Marvel's mother because she was the first mother of Marvel, and she has 2 kids in the comics. And her powers are becoming invisible and using force fields to do that. So therefore she can use force fields to move things and to move frequency. And yeah, it's a very special power, I think. Her relationship to the others, well, her little brother Johnny is, I think they have a beautiful sibling relationship, and we loved playing it. I loved it. Ben, I always felt like he was her secret best friend too. And they had a very private relationship, I think, that was always really special. I mean, friendship. And then, of course, Reed, Sue and Reed are inseparable. You know, you can't have one without the other. And that was something that we loved about the comics. They were just always defined by each other in a beautiful way that was always really moving. And of course, they share this family together. So it felt amazing to do it in partnership with these guys, not alone.
Yeah, Ben Grimm is a very practical, kind of terrestrial man, like whereas Reed lives in a world of abstraction. I think Ben has his feet on the ground. He is deeply committed to his family. I think Ben is a very loyal man, and after they go through this profound transformation, he's even further enmeshed with his family. He has a real need to depend on these people that are so close to him, people that knew him before, and that he can sort of feel at home with. I think he's a person, because he's been transformed into quite a scary-looking thing. Home is very important to him, where he can feel comfortable, and these other characters are his home.
It felt really meaningful to portray such a powerful, well-known, loved character in the Marvel legacy. I remember just, before I met Matt Shakman, I went back and started reading the comics from the 60s, and even from just first finding stuff online, it was so clear how loved she was and how specific she was. how she was defined by her compassion and her empathy, as well as her power. And there was something that was linked for me about both those things. And also the fact that I just loved her entire journey from being called Elizabeth. Oh my God, the Queen.
Margaret.
Elizabeth I. No, I've got confused. Invisible Girl by her husband, all the way to her
Otherwise
name.
known as Elizabeth.
The Elizabeth woman.
This happened a lot this week. And then her renaming herself Invisible Woman because of the journey she goes on, and she becomes Malice, and she's just so iconic to me and really special. But I was excited about mostly about the love that she has for her family and her children and her husband, because you can be really badass, you can be a super strong female superhero, but it seemed awesome that it was also asking her to be pregnant and, give birth and try and always lead with love before, except Malice, which I'm excited. Hopefully one day we get to do.
How does Johnny's adrenaline-seeking behaviours affect the rest of the family? Well, in this film, we see him, there's something quite aspirational and there's a yearning for space. He's very fascinated about space. So he will go to the brink of the atmosphere as far as he can go before hurtling back down to Earth, which I think is quite strange behaviour. So I think his family would probably be a little worried about him. I think he probably drives his family a bit nuts. I think he's a bit of a caution, but makes up for it in other ways.
Every second of Ben's day is defined by his physical constraints, and he is in this casing. He's very much a man inside, but the way he goes through the world is as kind of a monster. And so I think he is always, in a way, trying to assert and project his humanity, and is never fully satisfied. He never realizes and feels fully at home in the world.
As a family and as a world, we face the threat via the herald of the Silver Surfer that Galactus, an unidentifiable space god, is going to eat our planet unless we give him our son, our newborn. And so we are faced with, as a family, we are faced with an impossible choice.
Well, yes, I had the good fortune of working with Matt a few years ago on Game of Thrones. He very kindly gave me maybe 8 lines in one of the episodes there, and I met him when we had a very rainy day, few days in Belfast together, and he was lovely and cordial and got everything done and was open to ideas and didn't fire me, so that was good. And then coming onto this, he has a singular vision, and it was very clear that he had a clear direction where he wanted to take this world. There was a very specific texture, and his bravery to lean into a world that felt very practical. These sets that we were working on were just enormous and did so much valuable storytelling. I imagine for him as a director, but also it was so much easier for us as actors to go in there. I think for him to have that instinct to lean into practical aspects of filmmaking with Herbie, especially, that really brought something that feels authentic alongside, hopefully, the performances. I'm certain that the authenticity of the adoration and the love and the care that these characters have for each other are there because we felt them organically as actors. But it was the casting and leaning into the practical sides of filmmaking that I was most grateful to Matt for.
Matt Shakman, in this movie, he's a world builder from the Lower East Side to the far reaches of the galaxy. You know, if the detail, the level of care. It's a deeply personal movie for him. He's cared about the Fantastic Four since he was a child, and I think you see it in every frame of the movie.
Matt Shakman, I've known for most of my adult life. We've been friends for about 26 years. And this is the first time that we've gotten to work together. We'd worked together on staged readings of plays and stuff like that back in the day. And so to step into something as big as this together was, it felt very special. It felt very fated. I think that, like Ebon said, he built the world for us in every way, whether it was our bedroom or our spaceship or Galactus's ship. Or having an incredible puppeteer running around with us as Herbie, creating an incredible scene partner, and just always the elements that you need to interact with to believe the world that you're in and to help inform the character that you're playing in every detail. And I think that the story of becoming parents is very, very personal to him. And the idea of parenthood, so he was always there to kind of navigate that emotional journey for the two of us as parents and for the four of us as a family, bringing in a fifth. So yeah, he was our movie daddy.
Matt Shakman, I think, worked harder on this film than anyone I've ever been around in a working professional space. I mean, he just, even when I would say, I've been thinking this thing about the scene and could we chat about it? He'd be Zooming with us on a Sunday night when he'd had no sleep and he was preparing for the week ahead. I mean, he just put his heart and soul into it and was fiercely committed to realizing it. And, you know, we were taking care of our little individual character trajectory as well as our family one, but he was taking care of the entire whole, the whole picture, including, you know, when we would go and do the big sequences like the birth, you know, he would have mapped that birth out for 2 years in advance in his mind and how cinematically he was going to realize that, you know, whereas we joined his vision. And I'm so grateful for his unbelievable discipline because he didn't, you know, there wasn't 1 second that he wasn't living and breathing this movie for us, on behalf of us. And yeah, we just got to be like the embodiment of it within his vision.